Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Let's talk about the trade deadline tonight, as the New York Knicks had 3 days rest. We're going to get back at it tomorrow night versus the Kings. Let's have a conversation tonight about the trade deadline coming up. What are the plans? What can we do? Got the trade machine ready to go, and I've got some trades lined up, realistic trades lined up to talk about with you all tonight. Salute to the chat, salute replay squad as well. Hope you're doing well. Big up to Knicks Nation. It's had a few days, man, without B-ball, but I'm ready to get back into it, and I'm refreshed, and I know the squad is as well. Guys, salute, welcome in to the live stream tonight. Salute to the chat. CT, your host. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's great to have you with us. And of course, we've got some news to get through as well. We've got the G League popping tonight. We've got some of our Knicks in action tonight. We'll bring you up to speed with that. Also, Josh Hart is questionable for tomorrow night's game. But, you know, Lionheart, we know he's going to probably line up and take his place in the starting lineup versus the Kings. But big time news yesterday. Obviously, we got confirmation that our New York Knicks are dominating the East right now, and the All-Star buzz is going to heat up. Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, salute to our Knicks for their starting berth in the All-Star East. How did you guys see that squad announcement as well? We'll go through the votes in a minute, and we'll hit on these trades as well. We'll get into it tonight. Dirty Dancers in the building. Let's talk about these trades as well. You're already fired up, I can see, to talk about what the Knicks can do to improve our squad as well. And you know a trade's going to come. First and foremost, guys, obviously, let's talk about what we know the Knicks can and can't do. We can't take back more salary than what we're sending out. We also can't take back more players than we send out because we don't have the roster spots available right now. But we do know Leon Rose has pulled off a trade every single season that he's been here, in-season trade. Obviously, it started with the Derrick Rose one. That was a blockbuster trade in terms of how it changed the Knicks' ceiling that season. Then we know it was the move to get Cam Reddish as well. That didn't work out. Then we used that to get Josh Hart. That was a huge trade as well. Obviously, we got the big trade to bring in OG Anunoby last season. But before that, it was also, or after that, was the Alec Burks, Bojan Bogdanovic trade to send out Quentin Grimes. So very, very impactful. And Leon Rose knows what he's doing. You know, he's the guy that I trust the most in the organization, as well as some of the other guys in the front office as well. But yeah, I like the East. I think they nailed it. I think Spider definitely deserved that starting, position. Tatum, of course, Boston having huge success again. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Bucks starting to, climb up the East as well. And of course, our guys, Cat and Jalen Brunson as well. For the first time in 50 years, 1975, that the New York Knicks will have 2 all-star starters. And it just makes me feel really proud. Obviously, we know we are headed in the right direction. There might be some trepidation, some heated conversations throughout Knicks Nation about our ceiling, and we've got to get past the second round and all those things. But you always look at, obviously, progress first. We are moving in the right direction. Obviously, we want it to happen sooner rather than later because our guys are in their prime. But we are in a really, really, really good position. I've been looking at the salary caps, been looking at Boston and their hangover this season. We're going to talk about them as well later in tonight's show. But as just a preview for you all, right, I got some trades lined up, right? And when I say lined up, these are realistic. And I got a couple of trades with the Mavs and the Knicks we're going to look at. A couple of trades with the Jazz and the New York Knicks that we're going to look at. The Portland Trailblazers, the Miami Heat, the Detroit Pistons, a 3-way trade with the Bucks and the Cavs, and we're going to look at a trade with the Washington Wizards as well. Right, where there's smoke, there's fire, and I'm trying to highlight the teams that are definitely going to make a trade. And I feel like a lot of these teams, especially out west, are going to make a trade. Starting five, right? Where I sit right now, I'm leaning towards that. I feel like, based on what's out there, that the Knicks won't trade Mitchell Robinson. We know he's not going to get back on the court until the trade deadline is passed. And of course, it makes things very, very difficult. If teams don't see him play, we don't even get to see him play yet. And so I think it'd be a pretty smart decision. However, there are a few trades that do include Mitchell Robinson, but I'm just putting it out there that I don't think it's as likely that the Knicks will trade Mitch right now. But there's a few other Knicks that could be on the way out, right? And as I said, there are a few trades, including Mitch as well, but not as many. Josh Hart continues his fine season, right? One of the best rebounders in the NBA. And obviously the month of January was huge. Look at those numbers, matching Domantas Sabonis with the rebounds, right? Unbelievable. As I mentioned, Josh Hart's questionable for tomorrow night. Al Tango's in the building. Salute, blessings to you, and big up to the family. Great to see you in the chat. Kat and JB All-Stars, 100% deserve. And just before we dive into the first trade, right, we'll get into it. The voting, in case you were wondering, and by the way, coming in at the MVP voting, Kat is still coming in at top 5, 5th in the NBA.com MVP ladder as well. So much deserved for that. The voting, JB got in, obviously in the backcourt, Kat in the front court as well. Kat was the third front court player, obviously, and JB was the second backcourt player as well. A lot of conversations, a lot of trolling being had by other fan bases about LaMelo Ball specifically. I mean, he was going to win the fan vote, but he was never really going to win the media and the player vote over Jalen Brunson, right? So justice prevailed with that one. What are your thoughts on terms of the fan vote and holding the weight of 50%, which is incredible? Obviously, the player and the media vote is 25% apiece as well. But look, our guy got in, JB, over LaMelo, Trae Young, and Dame. Look, Cade Cunningham probably deserves to be above LaMelo Ball, in my opinion. His ball club is winning. And we know, look, no shade on LaMelo. Obviously, he's having a fine season, but, you do need to be winning, in my opinion, for a lot of that weight to carry. Tonight, our G League Knicks are in action right now. Chuma Akiki starting, Jake Toppin, Moses Brown, Tyler Kolek. I've been looking at some highlights already, and it looks like he's having a fun night in the G at the Westchester County Center. And obviously, Pacome Dadier is in action as well. We'll bring you up to speed. That game, I think, is around the third quarter right now. Halftime, third quarter. But without further ado, guys, this show is all about our trade deadline and the trade season. So let's fire up the trade machine right now. And as I mentioned before, guys, there are things that we already know. The Knicks can't take back more salary. So I'm trying to keep this as realistic as possible, but also feel like, these trades can benefit both teams, which is the aim of the game, ladies and gentlemen, right? And we head out west first and foremost, and this is no particular order, but I mentioned the Dallas Mavericks. There's a few trades that I would be interested in trying to explore. I don't specifically know how interested the Mavericks would be, but the first one I'm going to pull up right now for you all on the big screen. Shout out chat. Let us know your thoughts on this one. Rank it 1 out of 10. Also, let us know a trade that you would like to see happen as well. I've got the trade machine ready to go, and if anyone in the chat puts up a trade and I haven't thought about, we'll break it down like we always do as well. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a future stream and show coming up. We've got some guests lined up as well as all our post-game shows for the rest of the season. But it's great to have you with us. Obviously, the Knicks and the Mavericks, man, they're no stranger to danger. I'll start with the current situation the Mavericks are in, right? They've lost Derek Lively for multiple months, right? That's a severe blow to that franchise right now. Daniel Gafford stinking up the joint, according to the fan base. So they are in dire need of some bigs right now. right? And what do the Knicks need? Potentially some extra wings off our bench to solidify our perimeter defense and some scoring as well. We know Jericho Sims doesn't give the Knicks scoring. Precious Achua, very marginal scoring as well. So I'm sending those two out to the Mavericks to aid their big man depth. And what we get back, fam, Quentin Grimes and Omax Prosper, another young wing that the Knicks could look at. And he's getting some game time at the moment. And looks like he's taking the most of his opportunities. But I mentioned there's two trades with the Mavs. I'm going to hit on the second one in a minute. What are your thoughts on this, guys? Quentin Grimes coming back, right, on a good salary right now. He's only got 1 year, obviously, to run. However, Precious Achua, Jericho Sims, I feel like with some other trades I've got lined up, we can cope with our big man depth in that department. Ariel Huckporty's still here. Mitchell Robinson, as I mentioned, very unlikely that he's going to get traded as well. Dirty Dancer says the Mavs wouldn't do this one. Also, I haven't included particular picks and potential swaps as well. So if the Knicks could make something work that would suit both parties, you know, in terms of multiple second rounders, maybe a future swap, let us know your thoughts. But yeah, I think there's a chance the Mavs definitely, you know, want to get more back, or they don't want to part with Quentin Grimes. But again, they're in a really tough situation with their big man department, fam. And so Precious and Sims can give them a little bit more of what Derek Lively gave in terms of a lob threat and a rim runner as well. But yeah, I'm trying not to take back Dwight Powell as well. I looked at multiple trades. Obviously, Dwight Powell is that salary. He's earning about, I think it was about 8 to 10 million, multiple years running. They're definitely going to try to potentially get up off of him as well. Luke C said Quentin Dog would be nice coming off our bench, coming back. Michael Drake says run up that trade machine. You guys came in at the right time, man. We've just hitting on the first trade with the Mavs. East and West, like yin and yang. I think both teams could find a suitable trade that can benefit both teams as well. But yeah, the Knicks sending them a couple of bigs. Pie in the sky stuff. I think it's potential if the Knicks could sweeten the pot. But yeah, Quentin Grimes does seem to be a valued piece for the Dallas Mavericks. But like I said, you have to give up something to get. And if they want to, you know, bolster their front court, you know, they're in a real tough spot. Luka's out. You know, they don't want to play Dwight Powell. Maxi Kleber is a layup line waiting to happen. And Daniel Gafford stinking up the joint, like I said. So let us know your thoughts, guys. Grade this one 1 out of 10. We'll do a recap as well for anyone that joins the stream a bit later and misses out on a few. But yeah, I would love to get Quentin Grimes back. I think last season's trade to get Bogey and the other guy, Alec Burks, in the deal was beneficial at the time. But obviously Grimes is still young and got a lot of potential. Next up. Next trade with the Mavs. Very similar. But if they don't want to part with Omax Prosper, and obviously he's a younger player and they might want to keep him around and develop him, Dante Exum, the trade still works as currently constructed. Precious Sims over to the Mavs. We're still getting Quentin Grimes, but they're sending us a veteran minimum player, Dante Exum. He would benefit the Knicks in terms of a on-ball defender, which I think we're really lacking at the moment in terms of depth. Deuce McBride is that guy, but he's a little undersized. And obviously they're putting Mikal Bridges in a record number of screens per game. You know, they're putting him in 25 ball screens per game, which is the highest number since going back since they did these records early in the 2000s as well. Dante Exum, he's currently out, but he's working his way back. He's, you know, doing pre-game activities, and I think he'll be back in the lineups within the next few weeks as well. But Dante Exum, 6'6", he's a secondary point guard, a playmaker as well. He would give us some on-ball defense as well as Quentin Grimes. Salute Sandman, Buzzer Beater, Paula, and Stanley in the building, guys. Salute. This is our second trade of the night. Once again, I think this can benefit the Mavs. And if we need to give them 3 second rounders, I mean, I would still do it, fam. I think Quentin Grimes and another guy, Omax, Dante Exum, would really beef up our wing department, fam. And then we could look at the big situation coming up, guys. But next up, the next trade, we're heading over to Salt Lake City, ladies and gentlemen. Danny Ainge is there. He's waiting. We have a meeting scheduled right now. Let's see what Danny Ainge has to say about this trade I'm about to cook up right now. Our third trade of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Right. But before I do, we've got 2 trades with the Utah Jazz coming up. Right? The first trade is the only trade of this whole exercise that I've got Miles McBride in the deal, right? And let me explain, right? I don't want to trade Miles McBride, right? And I don't see Miles McBride getting traded. But if there's one trade that I think would require Miles McBride in order to pull this off, and this trade would be the only trade that would make me really consider it and heavily think about it, is if we're getting back Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler, right, together. Because you know Danny Ainge isn't doing this deal without Miles McBride in the deal, right? You're not getting Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler without Miles McBride. So this is the only version of this trade exercise that I would entertain trading Miles McBride. Let us know your thoughts. Paula says Utah doesn't like this. Danny Ainge doesn't like it. Sandman says I am for it. Let's get it. Let's talk about it, right? So the Utah Jazz, they're getting Mitchell Robinson, right? That's not much value to them, unfortunately, for their tank game in their future. Although he's injured right now, they could ease him back slowly. He could be that replacement for Walker Kessler. They get back Precious Achiuwa and obviously Miles McBride, right? For salary purposes, we can't take back any more salary, but Colin Sexton, and they could throw in Svi Mikhailuk, former New York Knick, as well. I would love to get Johnny Jazang, but they're probably not doing that trade. So Svi Mikhailuk, welcome back. And of course, Walker Kessler, right? Remember, guys, you have to give up to get, right? The Knicks are on a path to win the NBA championship right now. Colin Sexton, maybe you could say he's not quite the defender that Deuce McBride is, but we definitely wouldn't miss any scoring. Colin Sexton would adequately, fill in for any absence of Deuce. And obviously he's a tenacious, he's a dog, he's a winner, and he wants to ideally be on a winning team right now. I feel like Colin Sexton, and of course Walker Kessler. We already know one of the prime bigs that could potentially be on the market, and great for the Knicks' future as well. If the Knicks needed to attach some picks as well to make this happen, we could see what Danny Ainge might want. But next up, right, it's a good thing I come prepared to this meeting, fam. Let's say Leon Rose doesn't want to do it. Let's say Leon says, nah, Danny, no Deuce, right? The Deuce is loose right now in New York City, and he's staying in New York City right now. Here's my counter offer, right, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to give up Deuce McBride? How about this trade? Mitchell Robinson, Precious, still goes to the Jazz, but we have to give up some young fellas. Tyler Kolek, Pacome Dardier, right? We hardly knew ya, but sorry to see you go. Danny Ainge is going to want some young pieces for that rebuild, fam. But what do we get? We still get Colin Sexton. We still get Walker Kessler. But how about Patty Mills? How about Patty Mills coming back? Right, we lose Tyler Kolek. Let's get a veteran point guard in here that can shoot the three, veteran presence in the locker room. Svi Mikhailuk can stay in Salt Lake City. What do you guys think about this counter offer, fam? Deuce McBride stays in New York City, but unfortunately, Pacome Dardier, Tyler Kolek has to go, right? Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler would give this team the highest ceiling, I think, out east. I'm not going to lie. This would have Boston quite scared. On the Dallas one, Stanley says that would be an interesting trade. Exum is a terrific player. That would the Knicks really want Grimes back? Would the Knicks really want Grimes back? That's interesting. Dirty Dancer also says Mavs only do that if they want to pivot to a full tank as well. Yep, I can see that. Sandman says, I think if we get Grimes back, put him in the starting lineup, would be unstoppable. Yep, so you guys are feeling the Mavericks trade a bit more. Sandman says, I would trade Deuce. And AP says, I don't think Miles McBride is untouchable. You better believe I make this trade with the Utah deal. I see you. I see you, AP. And Dirty Dancer says, Deuce has taken a step back in this year in terms of rim finishing, especially. Yep. Shemu says, this is a great trade for the Knicks. Ainge won't do it. Picks involved, young players as well. I think there's a chance he looks into it. I'll be honest with you guys. The only holdup would be, from Danny Ainge's perspective, would be Walker Kessler, in my opinion. Colin Sexton ain't that valuable to Utah right now. They're trying to lose. He's a big salary. I don't think you would have any hesitation sending Colin Sexton to us. I think the only holdup would be the value that he'd get for Walker Kessler. And look, if the Knicks needed to throw in a 2030 pick swap, 2030 pick swap, maybe he does that. I just think Deuce McBride would be an excellent building block for the Utah Jazz. But if Leon didn't want to do that, here's the counter offer. Tyler Cole, Combe Dardier. But yeah, I think this would make the Knicks favorites out east, right? To have Kessler and Sexton potentially coming off the bench. Let's say you want to keep starting Cat. I get it. I get it, guys. So without further ado, right, we leave Salt Lake City now, man. Maybe it's been a no deal. Maybe Leon wants to do this, the rookie one, and Ainge doesn't want to do that. Maybe Ainge wants Deuce McBride, and Leon doesn't want to do that, right? So we fire up the private jet, and where are we heading right now, fam? We're headed to Portland, fam. Rip City. Let's get it. We've got Chauncey Billups in the meeting right now, and their ownership. Let's see what Portland want to do, right? Portland, we know they've got some heavy salaries. They've got a glut at the center position as well. What can we do with the Portland Trailblazers? Here's one of my proposals right now, fam. What are your thoughts on this? The New York Knicks get wing defender Matisse Thybulle, Delano Banton, and a big man, Doo-Wop Reith, who can stretch the floor, versatile, can play the 4 or the 5, more of a stretch 5, right? Mitchell Robinson heading back to Rip City, and Pacome Dardier, right? They're not doing this deal unless they're getting a piece for the future, right? Mitchell Robinson, probably not much value to the Portland Trailblazers because they're trying to get off of, Time Lord. They're trying to get off of DeAndre Ayton. But Matisse Thybulle's got some money on their books. Maybe they want to get rid of him. Delano Banton, he's playing some minutes for them, but he's on $2.1 million. And Doo-Wop Reith is surplus to their needs right now. Or you want to throw in Camera, like Sandman says. That's a possibility as well, guys. What do you guys think about this? I don't want to move Pacome Dardier. I really love to keep him around. But again, you have to find balance. What do we do this season? Maybe this trade isn't for you. But I do think Thybulle, Banton, again, my aim is to try to beef up the Knicks wing and try to defend the perimeter the best that I can. Sandman says, no, I'm not giving up Pacome. Yep, so you made that very, very clear. AP says, very important, looks like Detroit may not finish in the lottery. We could get that pick. It's top 13 protected. Yeah, fam, I'm keeping an eye out on that as well. Definitely. Luke C says, that's a lot of depth and future to give up. I understand, but the Knicks have a lot of second-round picks as well. Dirty Dancer says, we really need a scorer off the bench. If I had to choose between Sexton and Kessler, I do Sexton. Yeah, definitely Sexton above Clarkson. in my opinion. Sexton's been putting up really good numbers. The other day he had 18 points, 9 assists, and 4 rebounds in 32 minutes. So yeah, I definitely feel like Sexton and Jalen Brunson combinations in the backcourt would be elite. Um, I think, I'm going to talk about this a lot, guys, but I think the Knicks' keys to the playoffs is surrounding Brunson with more ball handlers, because if you're putting yourself in the mind of the other team, right, you're not going to let Jalen Brunson beat you 4 games running in a series. And yes, we've got Karl Anthony Towns, but what do most teams' defenses do, man? They surround Brunson, get the ball out of his hands. So do you trust Mikal Bridges to then make plays? Do you trust Josh Hart to be the secondary playmaker? Does Deuce McBride have to start next to Brunson? I think the Knicks need some ball handling. I do think Sexton would help us out a lot. Michael Drake says no to this trade with the Blazers. So maybe this one ain't for you. So let's move along, fam. We start to fly out east right now. Maybe no bueno out west. We fire up the private jet. Where are we headed, ladies and gentlemen? We're headed to South Beach, right, to visit our old friend Pat Riley, fam. Not a friend, but an old familiar foe, Pat Riley, right? This trade is a lot more realistic in my opinion, right? Precious Achiuwa, drafted by that organization out there. They know him well. Maybe they would love to, continue that, that relationship. You got Bam Adebayo struggling this season. Some front court depth would do them well. I think Kevin Love, the sun is setting on his career right now. Jericho Sims could be another young piece headed out to the Heat. What do the Knicks get back? Alec Burks, Haywood Highsmith. Right now, let us know what you guys think about this one. Miami Heat, New York Knicks doing a trade. This could benefit both sides, but I do think Haywood Highsmith again, wing, depth, defense. Alec Burks coming in, he could be that wing off the bench that could play off the bounce, fire up those threes. Buzzer Beater says, is there trade value to the European player rights we own? Absolutely, Buzzer. I'm glad you mentioned that. And that's why I said, you could make different versions of these trades. You could definitely include more picks. You could add rights to Rokas Jokubaitis. You could give the Miami Heat James Nagy if you wanted to. But I'm trying to keep that out of it for now, just to see what we could do. But yeah, Precious Achiuwa, once again, I think Mitchell Robinson will most likely stay, but we've got some trades coming up with Mitch in it. But I do think Precious Achiuwa is the largest available salary. And don't forget, he waived his no trade clause. So, he kind of knows, him and his agent knew what the situation was when they came back. David M's in the building. What about Bobby Portis? Stay tuned, fam. We're going to trade with the Milwaukee Bucks to hit on as well. For anyone just coming in, we're just getting started tonight, fam. And I will do a recap of all our trade. Also, if you guys want to propose a trade, I'm going to fire up the trade machine after this as well. And we're going to do it on the fly. Salute, coach. Dirty Dancer says, Miami ain't helping us. Is it helping us that much? Alec Burks, Haywood Highsmith. I mean, they're getting some front court pieces. Sandman says no Alec Burks. We haven't spoken about Cam Whitmore yet. No, so definitely let us know if you think there's a trade available for Cam Whitmore. I'm going to fire up that trade machine in a minute. Right, so without further ado, guys, we're on the East Coast now. We started out west with 2 trades with the Mavericks, 2 trades with the Utah Jazz, and a trade with Portland. We flew to Miami, no trade available with Pat Riley. So let's go to a familiar team, fam. Where are we headed right now, man? Motown, right? The Detroit Pistons right now. They're beating us twice, right? There was a particular player from a New York area that showed passion, dapped up his idol, Patrick Ewing. You know who I'm talking about. His name is Beef Stu right now. Isaiah B. Stu would give the Knicks size, rebounding, intimidation, and enforcement. Let's fire up this machine with the Detroit Pistons, right? Mitchell Robinson, for salary purposes, unfortunately needs to head out in this deal. Cameron Payne as well. Detroit want to win this season. They don't want to lose. They don't want to tank. So Cameron Payne could be an energizer off their bench. We're getting back B. Stu, who's earning $15 million. And what the heck? Let's get Bobby Clintman, a young wing he just can't get an opportunity there because they're playing Malik Beasley, they're playing Thompson. They've got too many wings out there. I'm familiar with Bobby Clintman. I know him. I think 6'9", 6'10". The Knicks could maybe get in on him. Let us know what you think about this trade with the Detroit Pistons, right? They're not giving us Malik Beasley. He's playing too well. And they're trying to win some ball games, like I said. Now, this is a deal where you could play with Detroit and say, we'll remove those protections, fam. We'll remove those protections possibly. You want to give us a couple of futures. Let's grow our asset chest. Let's try to do something. But yeah, the Knicks and the Pistons, they have a very, very, very strong relationship. A lot of respect there. I could see a deal getting done with Detroit. Obviously, last season we did it with Bogdanovic, Alec Burks. They got Quentin Grimes in the deal, and Quentin Grimes ended up getting them Timmy Hardaway. And look, obviously, if this deal came about, Isaiah Stewart's table and his agent, he might push for it, man. I think Isaiah Stewart would love to play for his hometown team. Now, Mitchell Robinson I love, and I said, I think there's more likeliness that Mitch stays. But if you can know that you're swapping him for a young, healthy body that can play every single night, you really have to think about it. In my opinion, you really have to think about that. Because with Mitch, it's an unknown. Isaiah Stewart is a guy that can play right now. Sandman says, CT, what do you think about a trade with the Hawks? They have a glut of wings. Let's look at that. I haven't actually really explored much with the Hawks. I did think about Capella, but he's earning too much. So yeah, let's look at some of their wings. They've got Bogdanovic and they've got DeAndre Hunter. I would be interested in trying to look at him as well, too. Sharp Powers in the building. Great to see you, fam. Salute, salute. Nick's Real Talk in the house. Divine, Sharp Powers. If you guys aren't subscribed to them already, get onto it. One of the best Knicks channels out here. Knicks 25 Champ says the Pistons pick is gone. Buzzer says no Burks. And yeah, AP says Isaiah Stu is from Rochester. So yeah, that's the Pistons. I think this is possible. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie, fam. But again, I think the organization will be a bit more patient with Mitch. Now, for you guys talking about the Bucks before, Bobby Portis, the next trade I've got lined up, man, this is probably the biggest trade of the evening, and this is probably this was the most difficult. Why I say it was the most difficult out of all the trades. It's a 3-team trade. So next up, this is the only 3-team trade that I've got lined up for tonight. But it was tricky because the Bucks are in a really tough position, man. They can't aggregate salaries. They're a second apron team, which means you can't send 2 players to one team. You can send one player to one team and another player to another team, but you can't aggregate salaries to the same location. So who's going to help us out with the Knicks and the Bucks? We've got former New York Knick Landry Fields on the line, fam. The Cleveland Cavaliers. Now this is controversial because the Bucks are competing with us. The Cavaliers are competing with the New York Knicks. But without further ado, fam, this is the trade. Let us know your thoughts on this one. It was very difficult to pull off due to some of these restrictions, right? But from the Knicks' perspective, we're getting back Crazy Eyes, Bobby Portis in this deal. We're also getting Ty Jerome, New York native, stand up as well, sharpshooter, and Craig Porter Jr., ball handling. would give the Knicks some depth there as well. What do the Bucks get? Isaac Okoro. Wing defense is their problem right now, and he's not being maximized out in Cleveland. Who else do they get? Cameron Payne, right? Had to be required to make the salaries work out. The Knicks, obviously, I want to give Tyler Kolek an opportunity, man. He's the future. We're paying him money. We need to play him minutes. Cameron Payne might only be a 1-year experiment, right? But he can really help the Bucks. And of course, he used to play for the Bucks as well. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they have to get Mitchell Robinson, obviously, in this deal. Marjon Beauchamp, wing defender. Maybe they can make some more out of him with size. And of course, Jericho Sims. But the Cavaliers would obviously get compensated as well. So they lose Isaac Okoro, Ty Jerome, Craig Porter. They're not really huge pieces. Mitchell Robinson would obviously be great insurance for Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley. They know him well because he dominated them. And yeah, picks involved. Let us know what you guys think about this one, fam. Michael Drake says these trades are buzzing. AP says Mitch to the Cavs. I don't know if I want to see that. The sight of Mitch alone scares the crap out of them. I can understand that, and obviously, look, anyone that wants Bobby Portis, man, this is the only way it's happening, fam, because it's tough. Bucks get Isaac Okoro. It's difficult, man. The Bucks are probably the toughest team to trade with. I know they're trying to get Bradley Beal, potentially Middleton. I don't know what happens with that, but obviously, they're getting more bodies, in their front court, and Marjon Beauchamp is a guy that they could help defend with these wings. Paula says, I'm not helping Cleveland. Right now, everything's up in the air with Mitch. Bobby Portis is a guy that would bring, competitiveness. We've seen that with Hart in the playoffs. Portis has won a chip. So yeah, I do know he has a lot of fans still in the organization. Sharp Power says, this is not a bad deal. And El Tango says, absolutely not to this Bucks trade. So yeah, I feel you guys. Great thoughts towards this one. Now let's fire up the jet. Let's head to the nation's capital, right? We had to do the obligatory Valanciunas trade, right? Because obviously Jonas Valanciunas is one of the easiest trades to kind of figure out, right? But if you don't want to trade Mitch for Valanciunas as a straight swap, right? I know there's a lot of people that wouldn't trade the defense for Mitch versus, the non-defense of Valanciunas, right? So there's another way that deal can happen, as I pull it up right now. The New York Knicks with the Washington Wizards headed our way to the Mecca. Jonas Valanciunas and his $9.9 million salary headed to the nation's capital. Washington is Precious Achiuwa, Jericho Sims, and Cameron Payne. And obviously we still have the Wizards protected pick coming up. They might want to ask for us to lighten some protections, perhaps some second rounders involved, maybe the rights to some players as well. But this is a trade where if you don't want to trade Mitch, you get Valanciunas still for these guys, and you get to keep Mitch, right? So what's the loss? Let us know. What is the loss that the Knicks could take with this one, right? Mitch can come back if he's healthy. Great, he gives us the defense, and we have another option, an offensive-minded big man in Jonas Valanciunas. The Wizards, they get Precious, a young power forward. He could play good lineups next to Alex Sarr out there, the second overall pick. And obviously they've got Jericho, Cameron Payne, and whatever picks required. But if you don't want to do this one, just know that Mitchell Robinson, Jonas Valanciunas, straight swap, that also works out. That also works out. Buzzabita says, I can't stomach Mitch to Cleveland. I feel you, fam. I feel you. I understand that. Dirty Dancer says that trade gives us the better players. I can't see that one happening with the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm assuming. Sandman says Portis is 6'10 and not a real shot blocker. Not a fan. I can understand that as well. But the Knicks got options. Huck Porty needs minutes, in my opinion. Any trade that I'm sending Mitch out, I'm trying to keep Precious or I'm trying to keep Huck Porty or Sims so that we do have that insurance. Ty Jerome's having a great year, says Dirty Dan. So yeah, I would love to get him. Sandman says no CT, no straight swap, Precious seconds, Shamit. We can't trade Shamit, unfortunately, fam, because we just signed him recently. Yeah, we've got the Cavs and the Sixers playing tough right now. Yeah, I'll go back to what I said earlier. I think Mitchell Robinson stays. I think it's most likely that he stays. So I've tried to work a lot of trades without him. It's just very difficult. It's hard to see a team really looking at, yeah, we want Mitch. He's injured. He hasn't played much. It's just too many question marks, for a team acquiring Mitch. And I think it just makes more sense for us to keep him. Hopefully, he gets back on the court this season, has a huge impact like that we know that he can. However, I think it would be smart for the Knicks to make a backup plan right now. Right now, Precious Achua, Huck Porty Sims, that's not a great backup plan in my opinion. I think where the Knicks need to strengthen, we absolutely have to strengthen, man. You only get one trade deadline. Once it's gone, that's it. The playoffs, we're locked and loaded, and that's it, fam. So that is it for the trades I've got lined up right now. We'll do a recap. I think the most popular ones seem to be with the Dallas Mavericks as well, the Portland Trailblazers. But I do think, yeah, this Washington one, if I had to make a prediction, fam, I'm going to put most of my money on that Jonas Valanciunas is a top target. Whether it happens or not, I think he's definitely one of the most easily acquirable players just because Washington, he's not that valuable to them. There's even rumors 2 second rounders and salary would get it done. I think that's a no-brainer. It's a low-risk move. You try to keep Mitch out of it, like I said, and give them Precious Sims Payne a couple of seconds. I just think it's a no-brainer. Right? What if Mitch gets back and he doesn't even make it to the playoffs? He gets injured again, or it just doesn't work out. Then what are you doing? I'm not wanting to rock with Jericho Sims. Tibbs doesn't trust Ariel Hukporty right now, which is unfortunate. I would see what he's got right now. Buzzerbeater says dump Matt Ryan and pick up TJ. I agree with your idea. Unfortunately, Matt Ryan's only on a two-way, fam. So Matt Ryan's not even on a real roster deal anymore. So he's already been eliminated. Landry Shamet, fam, is the guy that took Matt Ryan's spot. And so yeah, we can't add TJ Warren until March, early March. We could add TJ Warren to the roster by March, definitely. Matt Ryan's just on a two-way deal, so yeah, we're not really losing anything with that. Dirty Dancer says Mitch is just matching salary to other teams at this point. You're right, absolutely right, man. At this point, that could change when Mitch gets back playing, and I think that's the biggest hurdle, to any potential Mitch trade. It's unfortunate. If Mitch got back playing and he was healthy, then I think something could really happen, if teams see him. But yeah, if I'm going to highlight the most likely ones, I think Portland, I think the Pistons, the Heat, and the Washington one is the most likely. But just to do a quick recap, the first trade out west, guys, was with Dallas. Quentin Grimes coming back with Omax. And obviously they get Precious and Sims because Lively is out for 3 months, possibly. And of course, Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, and Daniel Gafford's not getting it done. So the Mavericks might really want some front court depth. Quentin Grimes coming back, right? If they don't want to part with Omax, the trade still works if we get Dante Exum back. And
based on what I feel, I feel like this trade would be more beneficial for the Knicks because Dante Exum can be a point guard, a 6'6" point guard next to Jalen Brunson. I would try to move heaven and earth to make this happen because I think Quentin Grimes, Dante Exum completely solidifies the Knicks wing and point guard depth. And we lose Precious and Sims. We'll figure out a way. Maybe we bring up Moses Brown, or we do the Mitch Valanciunas deal. But yeah, Dallas probably says no. Begley's the most reliable and says he's ready to practice soon. The Mitchell Robinson updates, fam. Soon is like how long is a piece of string? It's early Feb, then it's mid Feb. The way I see it, guys, he's not taking contact yet. He's not even sprinting. So for all our Mitchell Robinson hopefuls out here, I think it makes more sense that we keep him, just because I don't think other teams are really, going to take that swing. He can't help a team right now if he's not playing. So that rules out contenders. I don't really feel like a contender is going to be, looking to get Mitch. It's going to be your Utahs or your Detroits, Portlands, your teams that have time, to play around a bit, develop him, and bring him back healthy. Right. Yeah, the first two trades with the Mavs. Some very polarizing trades with the Utah Jazz, but this would be the biggest win of the trade deadline if the Knicks could pull this off. Right. The first version of this trade is Sexton, Walker Kessler, and Patty Mills coming back to the Knicks. Mitch, Precious, Tyler Kolek, Pacome Dardier, possible draft picks, draft rights, and pick swaps headed to the Utah Jazz. Maybe Danny Ainge doesn't want that. Maybe he counters with, I want Deuce Miles McBride. Right. This is the only trade where I would entertain trading Deuce if we're getting back Sexton, Walker Kessler, Svi Mikhailuk to make the salaries match. Right. Because look, there's the latest report I saw yesterday. Danny Ainge was requesting multiple firsts from teams inquiring about Walker Kessler. I think it was the Lakers. And Danny Ainge said, I want multiple firsts, man. And the Lakers hang up. The Lakers don't have that. So, yeah, the price, just bear in mind, the price is very high for Walker Kessler. You're not getting him if you don't include Miles McBride. And then Portland, fam. We got guys, Camara out there, Delano Banton, Matisse Thybulle, Duop Reith. Again, Mitchell Robinson, Pacome Dardier could take their eye as a potential future wing. The 305 Miami Heat right now. Precious Achiuwa was drafted by them, and Alec Burks, the New York Knicks, could be looking to bring him back in this deal. Haywood Highsmith should be a target, I think, for the New York Knicks. The Detroit Pistons, really, I can't really see any of their wings getting let go. Tim Hardaway's helping them, Malik Beasley. The only trade worth exploring with the Pistons is Isaiah Stewart. They've got Jalen Duren. For salary matching, Mitch has to go in that one. Obviously, Precious, the salary's not enough. But I'm indifferent on this one, man. I'm not the biggest Isaiah Stewart fan, but there are benefits. He's younger, he's healthier, he's from the area. I think he would add, solid enforcement, rebounding, toughness. All of those things are underrated. All those things are definitely underrated, in my opinion. We've got the Cavs-Bucks trade. This one was very polarizing, but obviously if you want Bobby Portis, try to get some depth from Cleveland, this trade might be for you. Isaac Okoro can help the Bucks out, and the Cavs can get some extra depth. And then, of course, the Washington trade. Now, there's a couple of trades I'm going to fire up. Sandman was talking about, Coach was talking about Cason Wallace, I believe, out in Houston. Some other guys were talking about some other moves. Dirty Dan says Mitch is just matching salary to other teams at this point. Buzzer Beater says, I think Mitch will stay. Absolutely, I think he will. Sandman says CT pretty much Jonas trade opens up the spot for TJ Warren. Yeah, I like that. He could get into the squad a lot quicker than March. Yeah, I want us to be proactive, try to get that depth onto the roster. Maybe Moses Brown, maybe Chuma Akeke, fam. We're going to bring you up to speed right now in a minute about the action out in Westchester, because we have Tyler Kolek playing tonight, Pacome Dardier, Moses Brown, Okeke, as well as TJ Warren. Yeah, in terms of what Begley's reporting, like Dirty Dancer said, Mitchell Robinson not sprinting yet, not practicing yet. Now, we do have time on our side, but yeah, think about it, guys. By the time he, eventually gets back on the court, if you think about getting up to speed, conditioning, all of that, man, there'll be like 10 games left in the season, 15, 20 games left in the season, max, by the time Mitchell Robinson's back up to speed. That's a very, very small window to get up to speed before the playoff action. And, we know playoff intensity, we know what it's all about, fam. You're definitely going to bring Mitch off the bench, he definitely has to ease his way back in my opinion. Altango says, Buzz, it depends on what they ask for. Could it be done without PKS? Dirty says, I think trying to get Kennard or Laravia would be realistic avenues. Luke Kennard, Jake Laravia. Yeah. Big salaries though. Yeah, but let's look at Houston right now and Memphis. So I'm going to fire up the trade machine. But I got one more actually that's ready to go. This is the last trade that I prepared actually. So this is with the Pelicans, fam. And no, it's not for Zion Williamson. Sorry to dash your hopes if you are hoping that the Knicks can get Zion. But the New York Knicks will obtain Javonte Green. He's only earning $2 million flat. And who else is earning $2 million flat for the Knicks is Jericho Sims. So that trade works, straight swap, fam. Javonte Green would help our depth at the wing spot, toughness, defense. But obviously, maybe a second rounder is needed. If that, I don't know if much is going to be needed to make this one work. So yeah, the Knicks and Pelicans could get busy with this one. Buzzer Beater asks, is Beef Stew much of an upgrade over Precious Achua? Different kind of players. I think with Precious, it's kind of a little redundant for me. I feel like, size, rebounding, toughness, I think is more important. If Mitch can't be healthy, Precious, I think, is a bit more replaceable. But Precious is more athletic. Smaller guy, more athletic, but just not as a bigger paint presence. We've seen a lot of these matchups where Precious didn't quite have that impact in the paint. Like Sandman says, you like Isaiah Stewart's game, especially, how he steps up to guys like he did with LeBron. Intimidation. I really feel like that's important for the playoffs. Let's say we're facing Giannis. Let's say we're facing, Orlando with Paolo Banchero, Mo Wagner, Goga Bitadze. Those guys are going to be up to their old tricks. Man, imagine if we had a beef stew to step to them against, in an Orlando series. That would be big time, I think, because those guys are going to be antagonists. They're going to be trying to push Jalen Brunson around. Cat's not really that guy. OG's a mild-mannered guy. Yeah, I'm a little worried that we don't have a guy really going to step up. Hart can get aggro. He can get into it. He can mix it up. But Mikal Bridges, he's not stepping to no one. Precious, I'll give Precious respect. I think Precious will step up to a guy. But yeah, I think size is big. Building blocks is Marvin Bagley. He's been on quite a few teams, but yeah, I think if he gets waived, definitely look at that one. But yeah, Isaiah Stewart is a guy. So let's go freestyle. What do you guys want to look at? Let's look at a team we haven't looked at for the second team. The Hawks. Let's stay out east, and then we'll head out west. Let me just reset this one. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's look at the Hawks, fam. Who do we want from the Hawks that's realistic? Clint Capella, he's earning 22.2 million, right? That ain't happening unless the Knicks have to, gather up all these assets, multiple pieces. Mitch, Precious, I don't like that trade. Besides, Clint Capella didn't look good last game. Clint Capella, he looks slow. DeAndre Hunter, I like where you're going with that. How about these two guys, DeAndre Hunter or Bogdanovich, fam? Look, I wouldn't mind a Kongwu, not going to lie, but I don't think they're going to part with Onyeka. Obviously, Larry Nance, fam. I'm liking some Larry Nance as well. DeAndre Hunter, Larry Nance, and Bogdanovich, right? Let's look at the years. Hunter's got 3 years remaining, right? So they're not in a hurry to trade him. Capella, he's available. Clint Capella is available, man. The whole league knows it. He's on an expiring deal. Larry Nance is on an expiring deal as well. I like Larry Nance, personally, fam. Anyone else we could get? Dominic Barlow's on a two-way. I like Dominic Barlow from the Overtime Elite program. He's on a two-way though, so I think they're not going to be able to trade him. They're probably going to keep him. But yeah, for Sandman, DeAndre Hunter is earning. He's earning 3 years, 21. Right. So let's just do that one. That would be Mitch and Precious combined to be able to get to that. What are the Hawks going to gain? What are the Hawks going to gain from losing Hunter? You're going to have to throw in Dardier. You definitely probably have to throw in Deuce or Dardier or Kolek, fam. Some pick swaps. But yeah, I don't see them wanting Mitch and Precious for DeAndre Hunter. But I like the idea. But I do think Larry Nance, man. Larry Nance coming back to the Knicks. 11 million. We could do that with Precious. Who else are we going to send them back? Maybe they like Cameron Payne. Maybe they like Jericho. Probably going to need both of them, fam. Let's see if this works out. Outgoing 8 million. Yep, Jericho up next. But yeah, they probably are going to ask for one of our rookies, possibly. Okay. Even then, that still doesn't work. So we're probably going to have to include one more salary, fam. Jericho Sims is only earning 2 mil campaign. See, the Knicks would be sending out 10 and 11 million from Larry Nance coming back. So, man, can Shamet get traded? Shamet, Hukporty. Yeah, I already don't like this one, really, fam. I'm giving up too much depth. See, unfortunately, Larry Nance is 11 million. It's just a little bit too much for my liking, fam. Campaign, Precious, they're important pieces for the Knicks. But again, the Knicks could still do it if they were, willing to include Kolek or Dardier as well. But I just think, yeah, it's too much. Like Rod says, shouldn't let Payne go. He's our best scorer off the bench. Dirty Dancer says Vit is good, but the Hawks like him. Yeah, definitely would like him. Definitely. But yeah, if you want to get real creative, obviously, you know, the DeAndre Hunter one is the pinnacle for me. Larry Nance is marginal, but like Sandman says, DeAndre Hunter is the pinnacle. So let's fire up the jet. Let's leave Atlanta and let's go to which team do you want to look at? The Rockets. We've got a lot of fans of was it no, we're going to head to let's look at the Grizz. I think Kaysen Wallace is on the Thunder, isn't he? Cam Whitmore is on the Rockets. So let's do a trade with the Western Conference team, the Grizz. Conchar, not a big fan. Salty Aldama, he would be a piece I would look at, definitely. Jake LaRavia. And Luke Kennard is earning 9.2. Who do you guys like from Memphis? Rod says just call up TJ Warren, call it a day. The thing is, fam, we could add TJ Warren automatically in March, but we should be looking to make some other moves as well. Altango says, let's go to Chicago. All right, let's go to Chicago next up. Dirty says Mitch and picks for Kennard and LaRavia would work. Okay, let's do that one. I like LaRavia. I do like Salty Aldama as well. Yeah, Luke Kennard. 1 more year remaining. Okay. You might be onto something because I'm kind of thinking, why would the Grizzlies want to do this? But you look at Kennard, expiring contract. You know, Mitch can get healthy. He could be an asset for them in the future. And we move over to the Knicks. And unfortunately, Mitch, the longest tenured Knick. Right now, let's look at the salary. Yeah, we could sweeten the deal, but obviously it works because it's successful, fam. And the New York Knicks would save money in this one. So we've got Mitchell Robinson going to the Grizz, Luke Kennard and Jake LaRavia headed to the New York Knicks. And the Knicks save 1.7 million in the process, which lowers their current, the current salaries owed, and it would allow us to add a guy like TJ Warren straight away to this roster right now, fam. We wouldn't have to wait. We could also waive Landry Shamet if we wanted to, and add another body with this roster out here. So we're going to head to Chicago next up. Mitch lives in Nashville, says Building Blocks. They won't re-sign Kennard anyways, says Dirty. Just Nick says campaign from Memphis, trade him and Mitch. I'll be trying to keep campaign, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but yeah, campaign did look a little agitated. I'm not saying he's not, I'm not saying he's angry or upset, but he did look a little agitated, with his minutes being sporadic, I mean, credit to him. He's played well these last 3 games. He's played very well, scoring, and I think he wants his minutes up, I mean, definitely he should have played more against, the game before the Brooklyn game. I can't remember which game it was now. The Minnesota game, I think, the tough loss. Payne was lighting it up. But also, I feel for Kolek. Kolek should be playing. He's 23 now, man. His rookie contract is going to start ticking. And right now, he's ready to play NBA minutes. And unfortunately, he's not playing it. So I do feel like for the future, I would try to get campaign going in a trade if I can. Try to use his value and try to get Tyler Kolek in there as well. I do want us to play Dardier as well. Now let's head to Chi-Town and then we'll head to the Magic as well. Wayne says Isaac at power forward would be crazy with Bridges. Let's look at the Magic because they've got so much depth, you know, and I do think they have to do something. So, but before we do that, let's head to Chi-Town. Let's see. But I do like that trade, Dirty Dancer. Big tick. Big up with the Grizzlies as well. Not in our conference. They are a team that I think could be more plausible to make a deal. Now, what do you guys think about Zach LaVine? Is he going to get moved finally? Lonzo Ball, let's talk that the Lakers are looking to get him. I tell you who I wouldn't mind getting back from the Bulls, Kobe White. Kobe White, 12 million for 2 years. That's a good salary. You know, he's stuck behind LaVine right now. That could be motivation for them to move LaVine. That could be motivation for them to move Lonzo Ball. But yeah, Kobe White's not getting good development minutes, in my opinion. Looks like Vucevic could go. I tell you what, man, I think the Bulls might stand pat. You know why? Because they are comfortably in the 10th spot, you know, and that's where their organization ownership likes to be, you know, competing, relevant. You know, if they move all these pieces, they're not bad enough to really tank like properly, and that, you know, they are still well ahead of Philly. But Pat Williams, I think they'll definitely be trying to move him. I'm not a big fan. 18 million for 5 more years. I don't mind Jalen Smith. I think the Knicks could have looked at him back when he was with Indy. I do like Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo, I think he needs some opportunities, fam. Who do you like the most from the Bulls? And I'll pull it up. Torrey Craig. You could do a Torrey Craig for Jericho. We save a little bit of money. I don't have to process that one, but that could happen. Torrey Craig, 2.8. Jericho's earning 2. That would get done. That would get done straight away. We dodged a bullet with Chris Duarte. You know, I used to like Chris Duarte, but yeah, he's not getting opportunities right now. He's on his 3rd team. I don't like THT. He looked out of shape the other night. Mitch and Precious for Zach Edey. I would do that in a heartbeat, but the Memphis say no. David says, how about Kevon Looney, Gary Payton II, Buddy Hield? Let's look at that. The Warriors coming up. Building blocks, yeah, 100%. Torrey Craig from 5 years ago would have been nice. Too many years on Pat Williams' deal. Look, for anyone that wants Valanciunas, I know his salary is a lot more, but Nick Vucevic is the rich man's Valanciunas. Let's keep it a buck, right? You know, at least Nikola Vucevic is a bucket, you know, like a proper bucket. You know, if you're going to be a turnstile on defense, it's the same thing, but at least you can be an all-star on the offensive side. But, you know, Vucevic backing up Cat would have given us, you know, a huge boost. He's only on 20 mil, but I think the Lakers will be looking to get him, and we need defense. You know, we already have Cat. So let's do this. Let's give this a try, fam. Ayo Dosunmu. I like him. Who else should we get? They keep Kobe White. Let's say they trade Lonzo. I wouldn't mind Javon Carter in terms of just, you know, a backup point guard that can play good defense if we did move Deuce McBride. But yeah, he's earning 6.5, and that's a pretty average contract. But obviously the Bulls have to reach the apron. Let's throw in Torrey Craig. Now Dalen Terry, actually, let's undo that one. I'll undo that one in a minute. But yeah, Dalen Terry's a guy that I want. Dalen Terry would be good. Let's head over to the Knicks. So Okay, let's see how we can work these salaries out. Right, you know what? That's going to work. Let's say Ayo Dosunmu, they like him. They want to develop him. Right. I'll be fine with Dalen Terry, Torrey Craig, just as some backup. You know, 2 bodies, 2 for 1, would free up a roster spot for the New York Knicks and potentially free up some salary. So let's send them Precious Achua. Right, that works, I think. Does Precious for Dalen Terry, Torrey Craig work out? Well, I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be 300K tight. All right, so they might need to take Shamet, or they might need to take Jericho. You know what? Let's free up some minutes for Hakpority. Let's give them Jericho. They get Precious, and they get Jericho. Maybe some seconds if they need. Trade is a success. So Dalen Terry, Torrey Craig for Precious for Sims right now. Obviously, you try to get Ayo Dosunmu, but he's earning 7 mil. Right, so that won't work. Precious at Ayo Dosunmu straight up won't work. Precious and Sims for Ayo does work as well if you like Ayo. Now, where should we head next? Golden State. Where were we supposed to head after Chicago? Someone mentioned another East Coast team, I think. Bones Highland. Buzzer Beater likes Bones. He's a bucket, but he can be an unhealthy addition to the team's morale. Yeah, he's a guy that would want minutes. Orlando, Sandman. Yes, so let's head to Orlando. Their depth is crazy. I'm sure we can find something that we like out there. You guys are buzzing. Great to be with you tonight. Off day. No Knicks ball in 3 days, but ready to come back with a vengeance tomorrow night. The Sacramento Kings lost a really bad loss to the Nuggets, and I think they'll be fired up for that game, right? Coming into the East Coast, that's going to be a tough game for the Knicks. You know, maybe we might show some rustiness, but I do think we'll obviously be a lot more fresh and ready to go in that one. So here we are in Disney World right now. Jonathan Isaac is earning 25 per for 5 years. So that's more than I expected. That's more than I thought. Obviously, to match that, you're going to have to throw Mitch Precious and multiple salaries. That's going to be difficult. But I do like Isaac, but I think he's a key part. I'm going to go back to the off season first and foremost, guys. What do you think about Goga? We couldn't get him in free agency. He signed a deal. It's a pretty good deal, 9 million. Precious and some salaries can make that work. I try to get Goga, fam. Definitely a guy that would be a proper healthy backup, can protect the rim, can shoot. I definitely look at Goga. Who else? I know Buzzer Beater's a fan of Mac McClung. You like Mac McClung? Cole Anthony's staying. He's definitely one of the hearts of their team. Would you guys entertain crazy Mo Wagner? I mentioned Isaiah B. Stewart before. The salary is high. Mo Wagner's a little lower at 11 mil. Right. I think Mo Wagner he's the villain to us, but I think if Mo Wagner was a New York Knick, man, he'd be the antagonist. Man, he'd be, basically a crowd favorite in terms of a crazy guy. You know, get in the grill of Giannis. You know, you could get in the grill of someone on the Boston Celtics. Maybe a little too crazy for you. He might pick up a technical, in a big moment. Can he stay disciplined under Tom Thibodeau? But yeah, like Sandman says with Orlando, they've got so much depth, man. Goga, Mo Wagner, Isaac. They do like to play Isaac at the 5. Paolo, small ball. I think their shooting is really bad, as we know. Orlando are struggling now, and they need to space the floor out better. Right now, their shooting is awful. I think their best chance is a Paolo at the 5, Franz at the 4. But yeah, they got Mo, they got Goga as well. So yeah, we could make it work with Mo Wagner, but I do think Goga is a lot more obtainable. Obviously, with Franz Wagner there, he would prefer to keep his brother in town, right? KCP, pipe dream, but he would be an excellent fit for us off the bench. Lockdown defense, 3-point shooting. But yeah, I would love to get Isaac, fan, but yeah, the money just doesn't match with that one. Gary Harris, he's washed up right now, 7.5 million. I definitely don't touch Gary Harris. I like Tristan da Silva. Had a really good game the other night. Tristan da Silva can play. He can ball. Corey Joseph, no use to us. Yep, Sandman likes Mo Wagner. AP says that's a good deal. That was Orlando. Orlando's on a free fall. Yep. Mo Wagner, I think he's only out for a small period of time from what I saw, but yeah, you might be right. Actually, he might have a torn ACL. So yeah, scrap that. Let's try to get Goga. Building Blocks also says it, man. Jonathan Isaac, too expensive. Definitely. We don't want to give away too many bigs, says Building Blocks with no experience on the bench. Hard pass. There's some other things we could do, obviously, with buyout guys. Moses Brown, we could try to get him up as well. But yes, salute to Mario. Great to see you. Let us know where to head right now. Let's head out west. I like those deals with the Magic. Let's say Goga Batase. And we send them Precious. And we send them some other salary. Some small salary to match. That could get it done, fam. Maybe some shooting. Would you give them Cameron Payne? Right. They need shooting, actually. We need some big man depth. Would you give them Precious and Cam Payne for Goga Batase? Let us know your thoughts on that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're rocking out with the best chat in the biz. Now, we've had fun out east. Let's head back out west to pull up the second team. You see, Brooklyn, I would love to get Day'Ron Sharpe. Day'Ron Sharpe, he would give us some great rebounding and some depth, but yeah, it's tough to see another trade popping with Brooklyn right now. The Raptors, we have a relationship with the Raptors. We did a trade with them already for OG Anunoby. Let's take a quick look before we head out west. Let's take a short stop in the 6. Let's see what the Raptors have. Chris Boucher, I think is untapped potential. 1 year, 10 mil. Right? Would you give them Mitchell Robinson if you're getting Chris Boucher? Right, you save some money there as well. Davion Mitchell. I like Ochai Agbaji. Jacoby Walter would be okay as well. Wouldn't lie. Jamal Shed. Cameron Payne, I think, could be an addition for them. Jamal Shed would give us more perimeter defense. He's a tenacious pit bull. Jonathan Mobo as well. He's a young fella. Don't know if they'd be willing to move off. Boucher would be a short-term rental. That's a good point. Great point. Okay, let's keep it moving. Actually, before we do that, Bruce Brown. How could I forget, fam? Bruce Brown will get traded. I think that's the biggest, that's the worst kept secret around the NBA, fam. Yay or nay? Pass? Any takers for Bruce Brown? 23 million on a 1-year deal. Maybe a sign and trade. We give him an extension for a small number. But yeah, we're gonna have to send the Mitch, Precious back to the Raptors. That would be crazy. I don't think we could make it work. Like Dirty Dancer says, Bruce makes too much, and Building says Bruce Brown is wanted with the Knicks. Yeah, I don't know why that rumor came about. I just can't see it happening with the salaries, fam. Mitch makes 14. Precious makes 6. That's 20. I guess, yeah, the Knicks could they could get there. But yeah, too many guys, too many bodies involved. It would kill our depth. But it would free up roster spots, you know. How about this? How about a 3 or 4 team trade? That could work. Maybe we send Precious to somebody. Maybe we send Mitchell Robinson to another team. Yeah, that's how it could work. 3 or 4 team, 5 team trade. It could work that way, fam. Right, we could send players to different locations. That would still free up the 23 million. But does Tom Thibodeau get his way? I think he would want a Bruce Brown. But I think the Knicks missed their chance, you know. He was available with Indiana. And the Knicks didn't make that happen. So we get back on the jet. We're not doing a trade with Philly. I'm not interested in anyone on Philly, unless it's Jared McCain. We looked at the Hawks already, the Pistons. We haven't looked at the Pacers. Do you guys want to stop in Indiana? Let us know. Obi Toppin, Miles Turner. Does anybody interest you? Anybody interest you with Indiana? Right. Take a quick look. Neesmith, Nemhard, Benny Mathurin definitely is a guy that I would probably be looking at the most, man. If the Knicks could get Benedict Mathurin, I think we're set at the wing. I think for years to come. You know, you could interchange him with McCall. He could be a 6-man, 7.2 million for 2 years, still on the rookie contract. That's very, very enticing. Somebody mentioned James Wiseman before Marvin Bagley. They got Thomas Bryant. He's only earning 2 million, but he's washed up. But yeah, it's Mathurin or no one. You know, it'd be interesting. I think they'll be definitely looking for firsts. You know, a meaningful piece or some first round picks if they do move off of Mathurin. So now let's stop in Houston, Texas. Fam, no state income tax. I do know that they're another deep roster. Buzzer Beater was talking about Aquaman. Let's look at Steven Adams. 1 mil, 1 year expiring. Steven Adams is on 12.6 million on a 1 year expiring. Does that interest you, fam? Steven Adams. I mentioned Enforcer. I think he would be a guy that, if he's healthy, would add a lot of rim protection and definitely physicality, intimidation. 12 million, you could get there with Mitch. Obviously, you could get there with Precious. Precious 6 million. You would have to include Payne Sims and multiple, you know, minimums, I think. Wiseman's hurt right now. Okay. Just Nick says yes, he's a willing defender. Does Cam Whitmore play D? Yeah, we'll look at Cam Whitmore. 3.3 mil. Yeah, let's try to get him. Let's try to get Cam Whitmore. You could definitely make that happen with Jericho or Precious. You could give them Payne and Sims. They're probably going to ask for a Dardier. They're probably going to ask for a Dardier or a Kolek. Maybe Huck Porty. Look, I love Huck. Definitely want him to stay. $1 million salary. He's worth keeping. But I think some other teams will, be looking for a young piece back in a deal. And he's one of them where I wouldn't really be mad losing, I would hate to lose Dardier or Kolek. I want to keep Huck Porty, but, I could definitely stomach, losing him in a bigger deal. You got Uncle Jeff and you've got Jock Landale. So together with the Blazers, I think the Rockets are the most stacked team in the front court. Jeff Green, Jock Landale, Steven Adams. They got Jabari Smith. There are a lot of players in their front court, fam. Buzzer says, would Tibbs welcome Grimes back? 100%. That's the first trade I started with, Quentin Grimes, but I don't think Dallas get that deal done. I think Dallas would prefer to keep Grimes, fam. But yeah, if we could entice them with some of their front court or some of our front court pieces, Precious Achiuwa, Jericho, Huck Porty even. Houston doesn't need Kolek, Building Block says. I think they prefer Dardier. Yeah, I would look at that. Cam Whitmore would be a good fit. Again, is Tibbs going to play these guys though? And, do we need a proven veteran, fam? That's why if I had to make a prediction, fam, as much as this is fun and we've found some great trades that we all like, but the Knicks are probably going to end up getting Alec Burks and they're probably going to end up getting Jonas Valanciunas, fam. Two players that the Knicks, that Tibbs will play. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we get something a little more spicy, like the Memphis one I like Dirty Dancer said, maybe you could get Javonte Green. I think Tibbs might play him. Ayo Dosunmu with, the Orlando. I think he'll definitely play Mo Wagner. He'll play Goga Bitadze out there. So I do like that one. Also, there's a lot of teams we haven't done a deal with. We haven't done a deal with Orlando for a minute. We haven't done a deal with the Memphis Grizzlies. I'd definitely be trying to get Jaren Jackson Jr., I think. I think he'd be the perfect 5 next to Cat or the perfect 4 next to Cat. He'd be really, really interchangeable. What do you guys think about Jaren Jackson, Jr., I think? But New Orleans, we haven't looked at there yet. We've got Brandon Ingram on the block. I think, Steven Adams, Jock Landale could be productive for the New York Knicks. He's on a non-guaranteed deal. It's $8 million, but it's non-guaranteed. So the Knicks could cut next season. They could cut that deal. That salary is not owed, to my knowledge. $8 million. He's proper 7 foot 6'11", can space the floor out, can rebound. I would prefer him over Jericho. Over Precious Achiuwa, I think he would give us a bit more rim presence, a bit more floor spacing. Jay Sean Tate, I think a couple of years ago, but not right now. Coach says we need Cam's athleticism and defensive capabilities at 6'7". I agree. Who are you giving them, Coach? Who do Houston want? You're gonna have to give up Dardier. You're gonna have to give up, Tyler Kolek. Look, I would be upset, but I wouldn't be, again, I think we're in a position where Tibbs just ain't trusting these guys, and he's just not going to play them. He's not going to play them at least until next season, until they get another summer under their wing, and Tibbs can see them in the gym. But as we get closer to the playoffs, fam, my worst nightmare is that Tibbs starts to shorten, his trust circle, and he starts to shorten the rotation even further. We're kind of looking for the opposite. We're all hoping that Tibbs will grow the rotation, but I think as we get closer to the off season, the postseason, I think Tibbs is going to shorten his rotation, fam, which is why I think Leon and him are going to look for guys that they trust. Whether it's 8 minutes, 6 minutes. Alec Burks is one of those guys. Because they've been down that road together. Yeah, I'm really against that. Bones Highland, the Clippers. Let's stop in LA, fam. Thoughts, prayers go out to everyone affected by the unfortunate situation out there with the wildfires. The Lakers right now, they're not contenders, but they are looking for pieces. Front office putting pressure. LeBron, AD putting pressure on them. Let's see what we could find, fam. Christian Wood's injured. He's not really playing much. Once a Nick, always a Nick. Shake Milton. Cam Reddish. What a way to troll Tibbs would be to get Cam Reddish back. Man, that would be crazy. Right there. But look, low-key, Cam Reddish could help us. As just that wing off the bench, like 6 to 8 minutes. Vanderbilt, I think he's just working his way back. Gabe Vincent can't stay healthy. I wanted us to get DFS. Not really anyone out here, man. I'm not liking the Lakers' options right now. Let's head to the Clippers. Let's take a look at them. I think the Clippers might have some better pieces for us. Bones Highland's a Timu quickly. He hasn't really taken advantage. He's 24 now. I like Coffee. Amir Coffee played a great game, almost upset the Celtics. Harlem native, Mo Bamba. Hey, Mo Bamba, Jericho Sims straight swap. Sign me up. Right. What's there to lose, fam? Mo Bamba for campaign. Mo Bamba, Jericho Sims. Do you guys say no to that? Greetings, Keith, from the ATL. Bones Highland. We could do a deal. Precious Achua for Bones Highland, Mo Bamba. That works. I would like us to get Nicholas Batum, but I don't think the Clippers are going to give him up. Chris Dunn would be a good fit. Derek Jones. Little pricey, but Precious and salary could get that done. PJ Tucker could be a buyout candidate. And you know what? His salary is lower than the mid-level exception, the full mid-level. So the Knicks could sign him off waivers. The Knicks could sign PJ Tucker if he gets bought out. They're definitely not moving Zubac. They're definitely going to keep him, man. Norm Powell would be perfect. If we had multiple picks, we could still trade. Mitch's salary, Precious' salary. If we could get back Norm Powell, but we don't have the picks. We don't have the picks right now. We don't have the picks, fam. We're going to have to go shopping in the, the sale section, the bargain section right now. We have to find something. I do like the Quentin Grimes trade. I like the Bulls trade with their wings. I like the Memphis trade as well from tonight. But with that said, guys, tomorrow night, we continue this conversation as the New York Knicks continue this season's run, right? 2 in a row. Let's keep it rolling right now, man. Hard-fought win in Brooklyn. 13 games over 500. 2 guys in the All-Star break right now. Let the wins continue to roll. And let's talk about this trade deadline tomorrow night as well, as we get more news right? But yeah, I think to sum things up, guys, I didn't include Mitch in many trades because I don't think it's possible or very realistic right now. I think Mitch stays, but I do think the Knicks will see what they can get. For Precious, for Sims, they might need to part with one of their rookies to make a good upgrade. But I think we have to find the right balance between making a good upgrade right now, a veteran that could help, without mortgaging the future too much, you know? I think Tyler Kolek is a player that the organization really likes. Dardier, it's hard to get a read, you know? I think they like him, but I don't think he's untouchable. You know, I really think Tyler Kolek was the player that they fancied the most in the draft. For salary purposes, they got him in the second round, and they were able to get Dardier at a discount, 80% of the rookie salary. So I think Dardier, Precious, Sims, Campaign, those guys might be on the block. But yeah, buyout market, Moses Brown, TJ Warren, there's options. And I do think when we looked at these trades tonight, the trades that are 2 for 1 or trades that free up more space for the Knicks will be more attractive, I think, than others, because that will allow the Knicks to have more ammunition, you know, to get some other pieces as well. But tonight, guys, enjoy the rest of your night. Peace, everyone. See you tomorrow night post-game after the Kings dub, hopefully. The New York Knicks get that dub against the Kings, and we'll talk about it. Peace.